So now, snowball time, circle back around, and let's go through it again. Verse 1 of First Nephi. Something else we're going to look for. So get out your notebook and flip back to the first page.
Are you going to look for footnotes?
Ooh, do you want to look for footnotes?
I mean, I see
That's not what I was going to say, but we can do that next if you want.
I mean, I see some.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning, like there's a tiny little A next to the word born, and down here, there's a tiny little A.
So get out your notebook and let's write footnotes. We're also going to look for footnotes. And that is one word. That is a compound word. Foot and notes combined to make one. Footnotes.
Yeah.
And I wrote it a little bit smaller than Jesus because no matter what else I look for, Jesus is the most important thing.
I did not do that on purpose, but I did too.
Oh, but it worked out that way. Awesome. Okay, so you're absolutely right in how we find footnotes. I'm going to move this closer to the camera. Which way do I need to go? There we go. Okay, so we've got right here, Nephi having been born. Right there next to the born, there's an
born of.
And then goodly has a B, and parents has a C right before it. Taught has a D, right?
Yeah.
And so then we go down here to the bottom.
We go down there. And there are the little letters that were next to each word.
Exactly.
And in front of them, they have the thing.
That's right. So for the first one, it said born. The reference right here is birthright.
Right.
So we could look that up in the TG. What's the TG?
TG.
Topical Guide.
Topical Guide?
It's in the back of the Bible. So we can look that up and then we'd find a bunch of other scriptures about birthright. Let's pick a different one to look up though. Let's see, maybe taught. Maybe taught would be a good one to look up. What is the reference for taught? Because there's a D. This big one right here tells us the chapter, and then the smaller one tells us the verse we're in. And then verse 1 has A, B, C, D. Okay. So on D, taught, we've got lots of things we could look up, but there is a scripture right there. Enos chapter 1, verse 1. Should we look that up and see what it says?
Sure. So
do you know where Enos is?
No.
Okay, so if we don't know where it is, we can go back to
table of contents.
The table of contents. Does this feel like school?
Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Did you know that what you learn in school will help you with your scripture study?
No, I didn't.
It really will. Yeah.
I thought that church and school were separate things.
Well, they are. We don't learn about school things in church or church things in school, but the skills that you learn in either one will transfer. So knowing how to use a topical guide or an index or footnotes, you'll use those your whole life. Okay, back to the table of contents. Contents. First and second books of Nephi, Jacob, Enos. What are we looking for?
Enos.
Enos.
And it's
page
136.
36.
I just tore my...
All right, well, don't tear it more and it'll be fine. Okay, unlike other books, pages are at the top middle in the book of Nephi.
So, found 139. Which was
so you're almost there.
134. It's so close. Where is it?
Okay, you might need to lick your thumb and then turn it, and it'll turn only one page.
There we go.
The thumb lick saves the day.
The Book of Enos. So, verse 1, chapter 1.
You want to read that?
Sure. Behold, it came to pass that I, Enos, knowing my father, that he was just a man, for he taught me his language and also the nature and a mission of the Lord, and blessed be the name of God for it.
Excellent. The Book of Enos starts out very similar to the first book of Nephi, doesn't it? It's Enos.
That
I, Enos. And then he talks about his father. So what did Nephi say about his dad?
That he taught him about the Lord.
Exactly. Taught him. And does Enos say the same thing here?
Yes.
Yeah. He taught me in his language. And also in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. So he had a regular education about language. Do you learn language arts at school? Yeah. So did the prophets. Enos said Nephi also took language arts. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And also learned about the Lord. What a cool connection between these two different prophets. They lived at entirely different times. Okay, not entirely. They both lived in Book of Mormon times. But Nephi was dead by the time Enos was around. But they were both taught by their parents.
Or dad.
Or dad. So they only mention their dads, but it doesn't mean that their moms weren't there. It was just their culture that they referred to their fathers.
Yeah.
They often didn't refer to their moms, but their moms were absolutely just as important as their dads.
Yeah.
Okay, so they learned things like language, and then they also learned about the Lord. Okay, so let's use our scientific brain, and rather than using the word language and the Lord, let's put those in categories. What category of learning is language arts?
Reading and like writing and literature.
Yeah, it's like schoolwork, right?
Mhm.
So both of these prophets learned schoolwork type stuff. And then about the Lord, what category would that be?
Church.
Yeah, spiritual, maybe would be a good word for that. Okay, so didn't you just say earlier that church and school are not connected?
Yeah. I said,
But we just read two different verses from two different prophets where they kind of were connected.
yeah.
Yeah. Why would they need to know how to read and write? Why would Nephi need to know that?
Because it's a way of life.
It is.
And
what about?
probably like the scriptures he wrote.
They wrote the scriptures, didn't they? Could they have done that if they hadn't done their schoolwork?
No.
No, they couldn't. And so do you think that the Lord's going to need you to do something with your life where you need the skills that you learn in school? They're two separate things, right? We've got schoolwork and we've got spiritual work. Can we use them both?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. And we just found that in the scriptures. So does that change how you look at your schoolwork, maybe?
Yeah.
It can, can't it?
Uh-huh.
You just found this.
This has been Primarily Scripture with Cindy Young. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and share to help the channel grow, and come find me on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and Facebook at Primarily Scripture. Thanks for tuning in.